Hello again, everyone, and welcome once again to Inside the USFL. I'm Tom Mees, and this week we emanate our show from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. You know, just a couple of months ago, pro football fans in this area were busy celebrating the Super Bowl victory of the Washington Redskins. But just a few weeks later, very quietly, a new football league came to town, the United States Football League, and with it, a new team, the Washington Federals. The Federals aren't off to the greatest start in the world with a 1-5 record. And over the next half hour, we'll take a closer look at Ray York and his Washington Federal team. We'll also have highlights from weekend number 6 of the United States Football League, and we'll take a look ahead to weekend number 7 as well. All that and much more coming up next on Inside the USFL.
If you play your video recordings a lot, you need a more durable videotape. Maxell HGX.
While you're away, Sonny, don't forget your exercises. 1, 2.
With HGX, you can play your recordings over
1, 2.
and over
1, 2.
and still get a great picture. Maxell HGX, the long-term videotape.
1, 2.
Maxell, it's worth it.
This Washington landmark is the U.S. Treasury Department. In layman's terms, I guess you might say it's where they keep all the money, or where they have all the gold. Speaking of the Denver Gold, they were home last Saturday night on ESPN. They had won 3 straight games before they met up with a determined bunch of Tampa Bay Bandits. The site was Mile High Stadium in Denver last Saturday night. Tampa Bay and Denver will pick up this one in the first quarter. Tampa leading 3-0. Denver quarterback Kenny Johnson hands off to running back Harry Sidney. Sidney goes right, says, wait a minute, nobody's there to block for me, so I'll roll that and get rid of the ball. And he throws a strike to Lionel Fee down at the 5-yard line. In all, a 47-yard pass play by Sidney to Fee. That set up a 26-yard field goal by Denver's Brian Spielman. That's right, Denver could not score a touchdown from the 5. The game was tied at 3. Then the Gold scored again in the second quarter of play. They dominated the first half. Johnson scrambling here, has to go to his left eventually, and he would find an open receiver in Howard Ballage for a 30-yard gain all the way down to the 44-yard line of Tampa Bay. 3 plays later, Tampa Bay would give up a touchdown to Denver. Johnson would complete a little swing pass to Harry Sidney, and Sidney does the rest. A 56-yard pass and run play. Denver scores the touchdown, gets the extra point, and the Gold are leading Tampa Bay 10-3 in the second quarter. Denver got a crucial turnover later on in the first half. Tampa's John Rees throws an interception right into the hands of David Dumars, who runs it back 66 yards all the way down to the Tampa Bay 19-yard line. That would set up another Denver field goal, and at halftime, the Denver Gold were sitting pretty with a 13-3 halftime lead. Ah, yes, but there are 2 halves to every football game. Third quarter, Reeves connecting on a 6-yard TD pass to wide receiver Danny Buggs. Extra point no good. Denver still led 13-9. Then in the fourth quarter, Reeves throws into the end zone. Pass interference is called on David Martin of Denver, giving Tampa Bay great field position. That led to a 3-yard Sam Platt touchdown run for a 16-13 lead. Denver comes back to tie it up in regulation at 16-all. We're now in overtime. Running back Greg Boone runs it in for an 11-yard touchdown, and the Bandits steal one from Denver. Final score, Tampa Bay 22, the Denver Gold 16 before more than 46,000 at Mile High Stadium. Last Sunday afternoon, the rainy Meadowlands in New Jersey. The Generals and Herschel Walker looking for their second win in a row against Michigan. It wasn't to be. No score third quarter. Dave Jacobs back to punt for New Jersey. High snap results in a block punt by Clarence Chapman. Ira Albright recovers 7-0 Michigan. Watch the receiver's feet on this play. McConaughey grabs the pass from Bobby Scott, but he doesn't control it till his feet are out of bounds. But the referee says, hey, you were inbounds. I'll give it to you. The Generals did score the touchdown, but Mike Freedy here fumbles the snap on the extra point. Dave Jacobs gets some help from the referee in the tackle. He's safe. 7-6, though. Michigan still held the lead. The Generals defensively. Watch this play. Good coverage, but no matter. Bobby Hebert lays the ball right in there to Derek Holloway, who makes the catch and gives Michigan a 14-6 lead. The fourth quarter, Generals are deep in their own territory. 4th and 14. Scott scrambling in his own end zone. Little comeback pass to Herschel Walker. Walker makes the catch, but he's stopped down inside his own 10-yard line. On the next play, the Panthers take over on downs, and they go in to score. 10-yard TD run by Ken Lacey. Watch number 29 for New Jersey. Comes up, forget about it. Lacey goes into the end zone. Michigan wins it 21-6. The Generals lose their 5th game in 6 decisions. Now let's go to rainy Nickerson Field in Boston. The rains were everywhere on the East Coast last weekend. The Oakland Invaders invading Boston. Late first quarter, Johnny Walton, Boston quarterback, hits his big tight end David Bale, who's cracked down at the 18-yard line. But it would lead to a Richard Crump touchdown. The Breakers led it 7-0 in the first quarter. For Oakland, the story as it has been all season, quarterback Fred Basana. A little swing pass out to Poncho James. James, though, fumbles. Boston recovers at the Oakland 22-yard line. The first play following the fumble, Johnny Walton, the Breaker quarterback, tries to take advantage as he fires one towards the end zone. But this one is picked off by Oakland's Derek Morton, the first of several Boston turnovers on the day. Oakland starts to move. Basana hits his favorite receiver, Wyatt Henderson, all the way down to the Boston 2-yard line. From there, Ted Tarosian scores 7-6. Breakers still lead because the extra point was blocked in the wind and the rain in Boston. Just before the half, after a Boston fumble, Kevin Shea hits a field goal. Oakland led 9-7 at halftime. Third quarter, Oakland blows the game open. Arthur Whittington breaking the plane of the goal line to give Oakland a 16-7 lead. Then on Oakland's next possession, Basana is picked off by Terry Love, but Love, carrying the ball like a loaf of bread, fumbles. Oakland recovers. The interception broke Basana's string of 135 passes without an interception. No matter, Tarosian carries in for the score, giving Oakland a 23-7 lead. Kind of day for the Boston Breakers. Walton is picked off again by Marcus Quinn at the 2, and Dick Curry says, oh, no. Oh, yes, Dick. Boston, a loser. Their first home loss of the year. Oakland takes it 26-7. The U.S. Treasury Building in Washington. As I mentioned a few moments ago, this is where all the money is made. As far as making lines for United States Football League games, well, that's made slightly west of here in Las Vegas. Stay with us. Up next, it's oddsmaker Gary Austin and handicapper Jim Feist as Inside the USFL continues.
If you've been thinking of subscribing to TV Guide, now's the time.
Because right now, you can call and get TV Guide at a real money-saving subscription price, the lowest price available.
Yes, now you can order 30 weeks of TV Guide at our low basic rate and pay in 3 easy monthly installments of just $4.44 each.
What's more, you can count on TV Guide for the most useful, accurate program information available from any source. Week after week, you'll appreciate the expanded listings that include your favorites on cable and pay TV.
Lively new features and columns, easy-to-read prime-time guides, plus previews of all the new exciting shows, sports and specials, and movie reviews you can really trust.
But find out for yourself. Call and order today.
For 30 weeks of TV Guide, call toll-free 800-544-1000. Send no money. You'll be billed later for 3 monthly payments of just $4.44 each. 800-544-1000. Toll-free 800-544-1000.
Welcome back to Inside the USFL, everyone. Time now to go out to Las Vegas to check on the latest line for weekend number 7 in the United States Football League. We'll join our friends Gary Austin and Jim Feist in Las Vegas. And Gary, last week we talked about the reasons for the action, the betting action, being down on USFL games. In the last week, has that action come back up again?
Well, Tom, even though Jim and I don't pick all the winners, we were definitely right when we said we thought the handle and the interest was influenced by some of the other competing events on TV, because this week the handle was up noticeably, especially on the TV games, both on ESPN and on national TV, and we did see a lot more interest this week, and I think the big problem a few weeks before that was the NCAA tournament that there was great interest in.
Let's get right to this weekend's schedule. Gary, Saturday afternoon on ESPN, the Oakland Invaders host the Philadelphia Stars. What kind of line do you see for this game?
Well, Philadelphia was very impressive winning at Los Angeles last week, and we've had to increase the rating on Philadelphia quite a bit. We're making them a 3-point favorite at Oakland this week.
Oakland returns home after 4 weeks on the road. In 6 games, they've only played 1 at home. In that game, they lost to Birmingham in overtime. But this is a pretty good team this Oakland club has, and I think they can play with Philadelphia. Philadelphia has only averaged 17 points a game, or not averaged, but their high water mark of the season is 17 points on the road. I think Oakland can stay with them and keep it close.
Once again, Gary, the Chicago Blitz on Sunday will be favored rather heavily on the road. They're taking on the Michigan Panthers at the Silverdome.
Right. In fact, this is going to be our second road favorite this week. Chicago was not real impressive, but they did beat Birmingham. They got real lucky and got a late safety and covered the spread. Michigan did have a very impressive outing in beating New Jersey, but we're establishing Chicago a big 6-point favorite on the road.
Jim, a home underdog getting 6 points is awful tempting, isn't it?
Well, 6 is a big number in a road game, as a road favorite. Michigan, they haven't played that badly, and they lead the league in sacks. And we all know that Landry isn't quite that mobile, that he can rush around back there. And I think they're going to give this club a tough time. I think it's going to be closer than the 6.
Sunday afternoon, the Denver Gold invade the Southland to take on the Birmingham Stallions. Birmingham seems to be a rainy weather team so far this year.
Well, we're going to see if possibly Birmingham can play a game at home not in the rain. This has been a couple teams that have had problems scoring points. And we've established Birmingham a very slight favorite of 1.5 points over Denver.
Well, Denver's played their best games on the road, beating Chicago and Michigan. And last week they played really tough against Tampa Bay, and we all know how tough Tampa Bay is. Birmingham is only averaging 13 points a game. I just can't make them a favorite over Denver. I'm going to take Denver to get the money.
Even though the New Jersey Generals have only a 1-5 record, they're still a very popular play with the bookmakers, aren't they, Gary?
Well, New Jersey has become the bookmakers' favorite. This is the one that gets us out each week, as the players seem to love to bet on New Jersey, and only once have we got hurt on it. We are establishing New Jersey a favorite. They're a 3-point favorite against Washington, which played a very good game but got beat, as most people seen, with a long pass by Arizona right at the end of the game.
Jim, I know that you've picked the New Jersey Generals several times this year, and frankly, most of the time, they've let you down. What do you see this week against Washington?
The Generals have been my nemesis all year. I'm 2-4 with this club against the spread, and this is a team I'd rather stay away from. But I think they can beat Washington because Washington's giving up 363 yards a game on offense. The Generals should be able to control the ball. If they can get ahead and keep Walker in the game, I think they'll win this game. I'm going to take the Generals again.
Sunday evening in Tempe, Arizona, the Boston Breakers, a long way from home against the Arizona Wranglers. Gary, what kind of line do you put on this game?
Well, the lucky Boston Breakers finally got unlucky. This was the first game that the turnovers went the other way, and it looks obvious that without getting the breaks, they don't have the personnel to stay with the good teams. They are playing Arizona in Arizona this week, and we've established Arizona a very slight 1.5-point favorite, and the line has been solid in Vegas all week.
Well, like Gary said, Boston played their worst game of the year last week. They turned the ball over 5 times, and they lost their first home game of the season to Oakland. They're going out to Arizona. Arizona's a young club. They make mistakes too. I think the clubs are even. I'm going to take the 1.5 in a toss-up game.
Monday night at Tampa Stadium, the Tampa Bay Bandits come back home to do battle with the Los Angeles Express. Expect a big crowd. Is this going to help Tampa Bay, Gary?
We've established Tampa Bay, who did showed a lot of courage in coming back and winning an overtime game, a big 6-point favorite against L.A. down in Tampa Bay, where they have been drawing very well.
Jim, I know you haven't been a big fan of Coach Hugh Campbell's 2-quarterback system in Los Angeles, have you?
Well, I said last week I don't like Hugh Campbell's 2-quarterback system, and I think, like Gary says, they're going to have some problems. They're not playing very well now. You know, in the first 2 games, they averaged 155 yards in rushing, and in the last 4 games, they've only averaged 70 yards per game. Their offensive line isn't doing the job. Tampa owes one to their home fans. The last time they were home, they lost 42-3 to Chicago. They're going to have a big crowd out there again, and I think this is a blowout. It's a big line, but I think they're going to cover it.
Tom, I might mention that I understand Lee Majors has made a major investment in the L.A. team, and if by chance he does play this week in his bionic condition, I would have to make this game pick him because I think he could be very effective both running and passing the ball.
Thanks a lot, Gary. I wonder if Lee Majors is going to fly into Tampa and join his good buddy Burt Reynolds, sit in the press box and watch this game. It should be an excellent game. L.A. Express and the Tampa Bay Bandits right here on ESPN. Well, Paul McGuire, of course, has been commentating on the United States Football League for ESPN throughout the entire season. This week, Paul has some thoughts on the quarterbacks in the USFL.
Tom, if you're wondering about the quarterback situation in the USFL, well, don't worry too much about it because they're doing very well. There are 3 quarterbacks that are over 60%. There are only 2 quarterbacks under 50%, and the rest fall into that 50% category. The one thing that's interesting about the quarterback situation is that they are not throwing the deep ball, and I think you can attribute that to the coaching staff. What they have done is they're taking these quarterbacks and doing what they do very well, and bring them along slow, have them throw the short balls to the halfbacks, the little comeback patterns, the 15, 18-yard patterns, and I think it's helped the quarterback situation. As the year progresses, you're going to see the quarterbacks start airing it out. And I venture to say that by the time you get to the playoffs and to the championship game, you're going to see the teams with the quarterbacks that can and will throw the long ball. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Paul. And, of course, Paul McGuire will be with us again next week with another USFL commentary. Stay with us as we have coming up next more highlights from weekend number 6 of the USFL, as well as a look at our DuPont Player of the Week. All that and more coming up next as Inside the USFL continues.
Some things speak for themselves.
Belly on up to ESPN Tuesday, April 26th. The NFL Draft's on tap. ESPN picks up the tab with live first-day coverage of the league's most important off-season event. We'll serve up the draft exclusively for a 4th straight year with in-depth interviews, stats, and expert projections. The excitement will be brewing Tuesday, April 26th. So join ESPN for the NFL Draft, the toast of the town.
That building behind me, the White House, of course, and the gentleman that inhabits it right now, Ronald Reagan, is very, very concerned about defense. Ironically, another man who used to live in Washington and coach in Washington, George Allen, the head coach of the Chicago Blitz, is also very concerned about defense. And it's because of the Chicago defense that the Blitz have won their last 2 ball games, including a victory last weekend against the Birmingham Stallions. This game was played at Chicago's Soldier Field, and we'll pick up the action with the Birmingham Stallions trailing 6-0. Less than 5 minutes to go in the first half. Here goes quarterback Reggie Collier around his right end. 11 yards and a touchdown. However, the extra point no good, and the score was tied at 6-all. Chicago regained the lead late into the 3rd quarter, capping a 65-yard drive. Here goes running back Tim Spencer for 2 yards and a touchdown. The Blitz lead at 13-6. Spencer was happy, the fans were happy, and the cheerleaders were very happy. Birmingham cut the lead to 5 points when defensive tackle Mike Raines and Brett Williams lowered the boom on Chicago quarterback Greg Landry for the first safety in USFL history, and that guy was a little bit dismayed by it all. Ahead by only 2 points, Chicago did right itself late in the 4th quarter. Greg Landry finding Doug Dennison on a 31-yard pass play. Landry is the leading quarterback in the USFL. Then Kevin Long dove into the end zone. The point after was good. The Blitz had a 20-11 lead. And they topped it off with the second safety in USFL history. Late in the game, Kit Lathrop sacks Reggie Collier to make the final score Chicago Blitz 22, the Birmingham Stallions 11. Chicago wins its 2nd in a row, upping their record to 4-2. Birmingham is now 2-4. One of the better teams in the USFL, the Philadelphia Stars, took to the road and how in Los Angeles last week. Let's pick up this action from the LA Coliseum. First quarter, Los Angeles leads 3-0 when Vince Abbott splits the uprights from 42 yards out. Those will be the only points all day for LA. Second quarter, after a Dave Trout field goal, Stars on the move. Chuck Fusina hits Scott Fitzke. Look at Fitzke, sees the camera. Hey, I'm all right. He gets a big gain on that play. From there, the USFL's leading rusher, Kelvin Bryant, takes it around left end, a 2-yard touchdown, 10-3 Stars at the half. After a scoreless 3rd quarter, we go now to the 4th quarter of play. Former Penn State quarterback Chuck Fusina for Philadelphia hits former Penn State receiver Scott Fitzke with a 19-yard TD pass. Philadelphia runs its record to 5-1 with a 17-3 victory.
Our guys came out a little bit sluggish early in the game. I don't know what it was, whether it was the long trip we had yesterday, the difference in the time or whatever, but I thought we got it going there about the middle of the 1st quarter, start of the 2nd quarter, and we played pretty hard, pretty well the rest of the way. we made it a little bit tougher on ourselves than we should. I thought we had more opportunities to get the ball in the end zone, and we probably should have taken advantage of them. But you got to give some credit to the Los Angeles defense also.
So Philadelphia beats Los Angeles 17-3. Last Monday night here on ESPN, we had a great ball game for you. Arizona invading the nation's capital to do battle with the Washington Federals, and early on, Federals head coach Ray York showed some concern on the sidelines, and rightfully so, because Alan Risher, Arizona quarterback, avoids the blitz here and hits Calvin Murray, who goes 79 yards for the score. Arizona's been a big play team all year long, and in the first quarter they did it again, and they took a 7-0 early lead over Washington. But for the Federals, recently obtained quarterback Joe Gillum, well, after throwing an early interception, he's undaunted, and he loads it up and hits Joey Walters, a former All-America from Clemson who played in the Canadian Football League. 42-yard gain for Walters. That set up this 2-yard touchdown run by James Mayberry, capping an 88-yard Washington Federal drive, and the Feds tied up at 7-7 later in the first quarter of play. In the second quarter, after a short Arizona punt, quarterback Gillum hits Walters again, this time 22 yards. It's a touchdown, but Gillum suffered a leg injury on the play and had to be helped off the field. He would return, however. So would Alan Risher, quarterback for Arizona, moving the Wranglers again. It's Jackie Flowers for his 7th TD catch of the year. And the PAT, though, was no good, so Washington still led 14-13. About a minute to go now in the first half. Arizona kicking off after the touchdown. Watch Washington's Mike Harris with a great return. Sees the alley up the right side, gets the blocking, turns on the speed, runs it back 55 yards to set up the Federals in great field position. Under a minute to go in the first half. Quarterback Gillum fades the throw. He's on one leg, so he uses all of his arm, and he hits Walters again for the touchdown. Federals lead at 21-13 at halftime, and the cheerleaders and the fans love it in the nation's capital. In the third quarter, a field goal cut the margin to 21-16, and then following an Arizona interception, this goal line stand. 1 time, 2 times. First play of the fourth quarter, 3 times. Washington is denied, so on 4th and goal, Gillum tries to throw it in the end zone. He overthrows his receiver. Arizona holds, and then on 2nd and 9 from the 2, Risher finds Jackie Flowers again, 98 yards and a touchdown. Arizona wins it 22-21. Flowers talked about the winning score.
I knew it was going to be a jump ball, and the defensive guys just misjudged it. And I just watched the ball all the way through. I was thinking maybe I should try to strip it because maybe it was going to be an interception, but I just watched the ball all the way through, and it came right through their hands into my arms, and they evidently fell down, and I just took it on the end zone. And it was as big a surprise for me than it was for everybody else.
So a big win for the Arizona Wranglers on the road. They escape with a 22-21 win over the Washington Federals. Let's check out the standings now. The USFL Atlantic Division, Philadelphia by a game over Boston, Washington and New Jersey bringing up the rear. In the Central Division, it's Tampa Bay, also with a 5-1 record, just a game ahead of Chicago. Michigan and Birmingham 2-4, but not too far back. In the Pacific Division, you tell me who's going to win it. After 6 weeks, they're all tied. Oakland, L.A., Denver, and Arizona with identical 3-3 records. As far as this week's DuPont Player of the Week, it has to be the young man we just saw, Jackie Flowers, the rookie from Florida State who leads the USFL in touchdown catches with 8 and in scoring with 48 points, 6 points better than the Boston Breakers' Tim Mazzetti. And this was the play maybe of the week. Risher hitting Flowers on that 98-yard touchdown connection that proved to be the game winner against the Washington Federals. Congratulations to the Arizona Wranglers, Jackie Flowers. This week's DuPont Player of the Week with 8 receptions, 179 yards, and 2 touchdowns against the Washington Federals. This DuPont Player of the Week is brought to you by the makers of Rain Dance Car Wax Products.
Rain dancing on your car's finish means the wax protection isn't finished. And who keeps the rain dancing? Rain Dance. It's guaranteed to last longer than the leading car wax, paste, or poly. Water beading proves it. Rain Dance keeps the water beading long after the competition falls flat. And longer lasting means less waxing. So keep the rain dancing longer on your car with Rain Dance. And you won't have to wax so often.
Nobody has to tell me to get on the stick. With the wide stick, I don't waste time or money. See, Speed Stick deodorant is so much wider than the other leading stick. Gives you effective protection in just a few strokes. And if you've been using an aerosol, look, you'd use up 2 3-ounce sprays and start a third before you'd use up 1 2.5-ounce Speed Stick. So don't waste time or money.
Get the wide stick for value. Speed Stick deodorant by Menon.
You're looking at a view of historic RFK Stadium in the nation's capital, home of the Washington Redskins, who capped off their brilliant history with their first ever Super Bowl championship just this past season. The nation's capital and the surrounding area is a football-crazy vicinity, but the football fans really haven't turned out in great numbers yet for the United States Football League entry, the Washington Federals. One reason why is a 1-5 record. But even though their record is below 500, head coach Ray York is very optimistic about the Federals' future.
We've had some unfortunate circumstances and a few injuries along the way, but that's part of the game, and you can't get too worked up about that. You have to just keep your perspective. I think that if we keep everything in order and continue to improve our team, some of those games will fall our way. Our players have, I think, tried hard in all the ball games. We should be really, in reality, 3-3 right now without any problem, but we're not. We're still 1-5, and that's what you have to live with. But I think our players will still be in the ball games as we go through the season.
York's players share the optimism of their coach. Running back Billy Taylor, who knows something about playing with losing teams from his days with the Giants, says it's important not to let a 1-5 record get you down.
The main thing for us is not get down on ourselves, because when you lose, it really hurts, and what you can't do is to take it in a negative way. You've got to look at the films, be positive, be constructive in your criticism, and really try to learn from your mistakes. And if we can do that, because most of our mistakes are correctable mistakes. It's not like we're making mistakes that are beyond reach, but right now, if we can learn from the mistakes that we made and try to better ourselves every week, we can have a good football team.
This is a fine organization. Coach York and Coach Bilski and all the other coaches have done a fine job of trying to get me ready and get me all the information. And I think it's going to be all right here.
The Federals are 1-5, but they've only been blown out once in those 6 games. And with the date this Sunday in New Jersey, the Federals are counting on being no worse than 2-5. A reminder, you always have a 50-yard line seat for exciting USFL action right here on ESPN. Another doubleheader coming up for you this weekend, Saturday afternoon at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific time. Our cameras will be in Oakland, California, as the Oakland Invaders entertain the Philadelphia Stars. Then Monday night we'll be in Tampa, Florida, at Tampa Stadium, as the very successful Tampa Bay Bandits will be taking on the LA Express. That game comes your way at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time, live here on ESPN. Thanks for being with us on another edition of Inside the USFL. I'm Tom Mees, and we'll see you next week.